Hello, everyone. Thanks again for inviting us to speak. I see a lot of very familiar faces, and it's great to be back at CPTR. It's always a fun conference. And just want to acknowledge a couple of my colleagues in the audience for helping us put together these update slides. But I'm Jeffrey Hafkin. I've been working with Otsuka for the past 5 years, mostly on the clinical trials side. I'm a physician by training, and it's a real privilege to talk to you about various updates in our program. So where do we stand in terms of delaminated access in the world? I think most here in the room know that we've been approved in Europe, Japan, South Korea, and Hong Kong. We've submitted dossiers to China, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Turkey, and we're currently working on applications in South Africa, India, Peru, Vietnam, and Russia. And as the slide mentions, we have been focusing on both high-burden countries as well as countries where we performed our clinical trials. Still have delaminated available through the Global Drug Facility. We are in the process of launching our South African access program. I believe it's officially going to be unveiled on World TB Day, which is very exciting. We're currently working on expanded access, in-country access programs in India, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And we have an ongoing compassionate use program, and we have 145 approved treatment courses in 15 countries. And we've currently provided treatment for more than 2,000 patients in over 45 countries, and I can just say, as of the last week or so, we added Mexico and Haiti were the latest approved cases that received delaminated. And just some real-world experience with the use of delaminated. We have some post-marketing surveillance studies in a number of the countries where we've been approved, and as you can see, we've been seeing very high culture conversion rates in these countries, including our compassionate use program, which the vast majority of cases have XDR-TB, very desperate cases. Fortunately, although QT prolongation is a key safety finding for delaminated, we haven't been seeing much in the way of a clinical effect due to that. Pediatric trials are something I work closely with, and I can add that we are now finishing our Group 3 pediatric clinical trials. We've enrolled all the patients to that group. These are our first group of children who have received the pediatric formulation, and based on that preclinical PK data, we've been able to move into our Group 4, our newborns to 2-year-old, and we're opening up recruitment in about a week. So that's very exciting for us. And as you can see, we're going to be using a very granular dosing procedure, looking at various different weights and permutations of dosing. Some other exciting news, which I believe came out at the time of the last union meeting, was that the WHO does now endorse the use of delaminated in children in certain populations, and we have an ongoing dialogue with WHO, and as more data comes out, we'd be happy to share that. In addition, we're working on a number of collaborative studies with various institutions in various settings. Probably the most far along study is being conducted with the Korean CDC, which is an all-oral regimen, 9-month regimen containing delamanid, linezolid, levofloxacin, and PZA, and that's the furthest along. We have a bedaquiline and delamanid drug-drug interaction trial, which is well into its enrollment, and I understand the MSF Partners in Health NTB study has begun, is up and running. That being said, we do have a number of other studies which we're looking forward to collaborating with NIH and ACTG and IMPACT and DMID in particular, looking at other all-oral regimens, treatment shortening regimens, and as well as potentially latent TB infection as well, which is very exciting. Moving on to our new compound, OPC 167832, Larry Geider mentioned in his presentation at the Union that we've now embarked on clinical trials of this compound. And just to mention, there is a certain theme that persists through many of Otsuka's compounds, and that's the fact that we use this carbosterol scaffolding in many of our drugs, and it's proved to be a very successful model for development. As I believe he shared in his presentation, OPC 167832 is a DPRE1 inhibitor, and as you see, it inhibits a key component of the cell wall machinery, and as I understand, there's a number of other DPRE1 inhibitors in development as well, and hopefully get to hear more about those at this meeting too. So what we do know about this compound, and it has a very, very low MIC, actually lower than delamanid, and frequency of mutations, spontaneous mutations, is also very low. It's exquisitely active against growing and intracellular bacilli. We have a sense of its effective dose in chronic mouse model, in various combinations looked at in our labs in Japan at combining OPC with delamanid, other first and second line TB drugs, and specifically with the aim of providing a shorter all-oral regimen for DS or drug-resistant TB. And just to mention, we've been involved with the target regimen development initiative from the WHO, and certainly will be our goal is to develop a new all-oral regimen that is shorter, safer than the current available TB regimens. And just to emphasize, this will be developed as part of a regimen along with delamanid and other safer, newer drugs. And in October, we embarked on our first single ascending dose study, our first clinical trial of OPC, and happy to say that we are now finishing our last dose level, and this is ongoing in North America, and been very pleased with how this is going so far. No significant safety signals thus far. PK appears to be linear. Once this trial is wrapped up, we're going to move on to a multiple ascending dose and hopefully an EBA study to follow as well. To mention, since it's obviously been discussed, is being discussed in this meeting, we're working very closely with CPTR and others about how to design future regimens going forward, specifically in the hollow fiber model, marmoset model with Cliff Berry's group at NIH, and mouse models in Otsuka's lab. We're excited about getting an award from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to work on a development plan for this combination. And just to highlight what I believe was discussed yesterday, and I think many of you heard Larry's presentation, we also are in process of developing a biomarker which will enable more efficient TB drug development. And specifically, we're looking at a Lamb ELISA assay. And I'll defer to his slides for the details, but basically, this is a monoclonal Lamb antibody that has a sensitivity close to solid culture and correlates very closely with sputum culture. And as we all know, that nucleic acid amplification testing and smear do not provide a very accurate biomarker during TB treatment. So we're excited about some of the preliminary data we've been able to accumulate, and we're currently working with the next-gen EBA study to generate more data, and hopefully this will become a biomarker that will enable rapid, adaptive trial designs in the future. I just wanted to thank you again for having us, and look forward to answering any questions.
No, please stay here. And I think just after each presentation, we'll take one or two questions just for clarification, but save the more in-depth discussions for the end. I think you have one.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for the
Hi, Erica.
presentation. Yeah, it's exciting to see the pediatric studies moving along so quickly, and I think you guys are well ahead of the other developers on that front, so congratulations. A question for you about that, and then a second question. Have you submitted the next cohort of data to the WHO yet to update the guidance for below 6 for the 3 to 5 cohort?
That data actually hasn't been fully analyzed, but that's our goal.
Okay, great. Yeah, it would be great to keep rolling that over as soon as possible. And could you explain a bit more? I know that on Friday there will be an announcement about the South Africa program, but I understand it's only for 200 patients. And could you speak a little bit to why that's so limited and what the delays with registering the drug there and in Peru have been, even though those were the trial site countries? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is getting this access program has been quite a long delay. I believe we started our discussions with the Department of Health almost 2 years ago to get it up and running. 200 courses were the agreed upon arrangement, and we're excited it's going to be opening this month. In terms of registration, I know we are having ongoing discussions with a local entity there. As I believe many of you know, we don't have a local Otsuka presence in South Africa, and that's contributed to that delay. Thank you.